Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rashani, and if you are returning here, I see you and I appreciate you, so thank you so much. Today we're going to be talking about probably by far one of my favorite topics, which is about how to create your dream life and how to become your dream person. I'm going to be providing for you guys some tips and tricks that help me on my personal journey, and let's just get right into it. So first things first, you need to stop self-sabotaging. You need to recontextualize your behavior, because obviously you're having a thought which is triggering an emotion, and then that emotion is driving a behavior. This pattern is actually ruining your relationships, and you might be asking me, what does any of my relationships have to do with my dream life? But how do you think you're going to be able to sustain the connections you have in your supposed dream life, or the relationships you have in your dream life, if you're not able to take a step back and see that you're the one who's the problem? It can also be described sometimes as emotional volatility. So if you know you're somebody who's really emotionally volatile, and in that sense I mean someone who, you know, you might feel one way 1 second and then it can switch like super quickly, and all of a sudden you're in a completely different state of mind and completely different emotions, and it's almost as if you were like a new person. And the reason that I know this so well is because I used to do this myself. It was really hard for me to step outside of the situation that I was in and kind of look at it from a third-party perspective, but that's why awareness is so important. But this, I could see in my life that if I were to continue doing this over and over, where I had a thought and then it would trigger an emotion in me, even though the thought is nothing, it's just a thought, it's not true. If it says something about me, it's not true. If it says something about someone else, it's not true. It's literally just a thought. It's the way that my mind is interpreting the world around me, right? So there's no reason to believe it, but most of all, there's no reason to get so involved in it emotionally. In my personal experience, emotional volatility really did not help me, because I was like, why am I constantly thinking all of these different things, and then I'm letting it get to me, and I'm taking my own thoughts personally, and then A, B, and C would happen, and then it was just too much for me. So I would say work on that as a foundational skill, because it builds a very strong foundation for you to be able to then execute your goals, and you're not constantly just thinking about, is this going to happen in this way, or does this person think this of me? And the first step is awareness, right? Realize if you're the type of person who does this to yourself, and believe me, it's a normal thing to do, but it's going to pay off big time when you start to be able to put yourself in situations that are a little bit more uncomfortable, because you know that you won't be as emotionally volatile anymore. You know how to set the record straight with yourself. You're no longer, overthinking every single thought that you have and then letting it drive your behavior, but instead you're first taking a step back and you're looking at it and you're like, okay, is this a productive thought that I'm having? Is it going to serve me for the better, and is it going to give me the life that I want? If yes, then you can make note of it and see what more you can make of that thought. Maybe it was something that was a really good idea. And if it was not a productive thought and it's just making you feel worse, then just let it go. Leela Hormozi said this one thing, and she said you have to find the fish that's poisoning the pond. So sometimes maybe you have a really good idea about something, but because you have this one really unproductive thought that you're not aware of and you cannot get to the bottom of, you let it run the course for actually a long time, and more than is necessary. It doesn't need to be there for that long. So find the fish that's poisoning the pond and stop self-sabotaging, and recognize why you do that to begin with. A lot of the times it actually comes from trauma, because realistically the road to your dream reality might potentially be very lonely, and you need to be able to learn how to cope with certain thoughts and certain emotions. Believe me, I'm still learning this one myself, but I've been doing it super often because I do not want it to be the hurdle that I have to face when it comes down to being able to execute my dream life, or even just become my dream woman. That's honestly my personal goals, is I want to become my dream woman. I have an idea of how she is, and I'm going to get more into that with my next point, which is to invest in yourself. I know this one sounds like a little bit of a basic one, but what exactly do I mean by investing in yourself? Often what we do for others, we would never do for ourselves. And it's because we don't show up for ourselves enough. If somebody asked us to be there tomorrow, we would be there. But if we plan to go to the gym this week, we can put it off because it's not that important. In order to build your dream reality, you have to start thinking more about how you're going to romanticize it. I do this so much. I still do this to this day because it helps me stay motivated, but the only way to really romanticize it is to change things up pretty often and also pretend like as if I'm in a movie. Make it look like a movie, make it feel like a movie, even pay attention to little scents. In my room, I always have aromatherapy candles. It reminds me that I want a stress-free life where I'm able to wake up every morning and stick to doing my meditations every day. That is just a part of my dream routine, my dream lifestyle, and I want to make sure it sticks. So it's all down to the details, right? What exactly is the lifestyle that I want to live, or who is it exactly that I want to be? What would this person have? What kind of clothes would they wear? What's their morning routine like? How do they talk? How do they walk? How do they, carry themselves? What do people say about them? Number 3 is build a self-concept. So this is really similar to the second one, but more so this is kind of the fun part. This means is you don't yet have to be your dream person. You just have to believe that you can get there, that you can be that person, that you can live that life, and etc., etc. I wrote it down in my journal. I was like, okay, this is her hair length. This is how she does her makeup. This is her nail shape. This is the way she thinks, the way she talks, the way she walks, as I mentioned before. This is what people feel around her. This is how she makes other people feel. A matter of being delusional. I understand that not a lot of people side with this way of living, but it works for me because I really believe that I could get there. I just had to take a few steps. I had to do the inner work and I had to slowly make my way there. Since a huge part of my self-concept a few years back was being someone who is really tapped into my feminine energy. I don't feel like that was me before. I was quite masculine actually, which I don't think there's anything wrong with, but I think that if you don't like that, obviously it's worth finding out how to change it. So for me, I kept my hair short for a very long time because I felt like my long hair feminized my face, and then this is the first year that I'm actually properly growing out my hair because I want to be tapped into my feminine energy, which I understand not everybody's going to agree with that, but for me that was a big goal of mine because it also came out in my personality, right? I wanted to be able to gracefully handle situations like how a woman would, and just be so tapped into my feminine nature, and that was a big goal of mine for a long time, but I wasn't able to do that without first recognizing that that's what I lacked for a very long time. So my dream woman had huge qualities of feminine energy and radiating that and having that be an apparent thing that when you meet me or when you meet her, my dream woman, that's kind of the energy that she gives off, and you can feel that when you speak to her. Number 4 is starting to walk your talk to basically become this person. Pretty much linked into all the other ones, but this time what you're going to be doing is when you make a decision, when you are about to do something, you think to yourself, is this going to serve the highest version of me? Is this something the highest version of me would do? Is this a decision that they would make? And if I say yes, is this going to benefit me in the future, and will this affect my highest self in a positive way? So everything you do, essentially, you direct it toward the person that you're becoming. Number 5 is to practice an abundance mindset. Make sure you are in a mindset of like, I can receive everything. There's not like there's a limited source of something that I cannot have access to. Everything comes to me effortlessly. Say your affirmations. Make that a normal thing for you to have an abundance mindset. So like, for example, I'll give you guys an example. For me, like when my sister and I were younger, a little bit younger, maybe in like middle school or something, we used to really often like hide our stuff from each other, or we'd hide our stuff from other family members because we had a finite sense of thinking, right? We thought like, if this person uses it, it's gonna waste and we don't have money to pay for it. And we were sending out into the universe that we don't believe that we're capable of eventually making more than enough money to buy 100 of whatever it is that we were trying to hide. That was a finite way of thinking, and sending that out into the universe of like, no, this is mine and I don't want anybody else to use it, then that's going to create a really bad loophole for you because you're in this state of thinking that there's a finite amount of something. I explained this in my last video as well, so I'm not going to go into it too deeply, but an abundance mindset is really, really, really beneficial when you are building your dream life, because how else are you supposed to believe that you can get anything if you don't already open your mind up to the idea that that's possible for you? So I really hope this video helped you guys a little bit. Definitely not there yet. There's a lot of things I want to work on, but so far I'm doing all of the things that I would have really, really wanted to do at the time that I was planning for this type of lifestyle. So thank you guys so much for watching and staying tuned, and I will see you guys in the next one.